Hello and a very warm welcome from the Oxfordshire Local Enterprise Partnership and OxLEP Business. I'm Howard Bentham and I'll be your host as we explore what's next for Oxfordshire's business community. For those who live and work in the county, we know Oxfordshire is a great place to set up and grow a business. And OxLEP Business is there to support our business community. We're all aware of the challenges in running a successful business. However, with the backdrop of the devastating effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, as well as the upcoming EU exit, the next few months could turn out to be one of the most turbulent economic periods in living memory. OxLEP Business is here to help. Our mission is to help businesses to survive and thrive, and we're dedicated to helping you find the support needed to set up, start up, and grow your business. Over the next hour or so, I'll introduce you to key staff from OxLEP Business who will take you through the range of support on offer. In addition, you'll also meet some local business owners who've benefited from the support available. Their stories are compelling ones. And we want the sessions to be as interactive as possible. If you're watching this live, as you can see on the screen, there's a chat facility on this platform. The OxLEP Business team will attempt to answer your questions immediately in the chat space. For answers that require more follow-up, a member of the team will be in touch at the close of the event. If you're watching this as a recording, please get in touch via the website at oxlepbusiness.co.uk. So let me introduce our first two contributors. Please welcome Helen Brind, who is the Growth Hub Manager at OxLEP Business. Helen has been working with OxLEP for nearly 3 years and comes with a background in managing growth in the banking and educational sectors. Reinforcing her local credentials, she is a former pupil of Didcot Girls' School. And Richard Bayard. Richard is Director of Business Development at OxLEP. He has over 30 years experience leading businesses to succeed and oversees the OxLEP skills and business teams. Welcome to both of you. Richard, if we can start with you at the outset, it's probably just worth making clear the distinction as to how OxLEP Business fits within the wider role of the Oxfordshire Local Enterprise Partnership.
Thanks, Howard, and good morning, everyone. At OxLEP, we're delighted to actually have a whole range of support available for business that sits under the Growth Hub, but also sits as part of the wider LEP activity. And if I can break that down into two main areas. Tactically, we have the Growth Hub, which Helen will explain, and that underpins the OxLEP business offer. We also have significant support for skills through the Skills Hub and internationalisation as well. There are tactical delivery responses. And then the second element, I think, is around the strategic development, perhaps looking forward over the next decade or two. And we have a series of activities that support that. Local industrial strategy, local skills plan, economic recovery plan, which is very current, and our response to COVID. But also looking at things like the energy strategy. So together we bring a series of activities, both strategic and tactical, and that helps support and influences some of the delivery activity that Helen and the wider team can help deliver and drive down into businesses. So I guess to close, Howard, it's very much that cohesive, coherent and coordination of offer. That having OxLEP Business embedded as part of the wider OxLEP delivery mechanism and strategic mechanism, it allows us an awful lot of flexibility, and it allows us to respond incredibly quickly.
Helen, give us the overview of what the Growth Hub for Oxfordshire actually is in practice.
Okay, lovely. Thanks, Howard, and good morning, everybody. So in reality, what is the Growth Hub? It's a OxLEP Business, which has existed since 2015 in some shape or form. I would say that what the main offer for us is very much around helping SMEs, entrepreneurs, socially minded businesses and organisations, really help them find the support that's available to them and kind of demystify the support that is out there, because there is a plethora of support at the moment. We have grown significantly over the last, probably 6 to 8 months since we've entered the COVID-19 pandemic. And I guess this slide that everybody can see really depicts how much we have grown over that period of time. We're going to talk you through each of the different levels of support that we offer, but at the heart of it is the Growth Hub and the enhanced delivery that we're offering. And then really just adding on to the services that we actually provide, and we do that through a series of programs. We do it through which are supported by one-to-ones, webinars, a number of different grant schemes, and then ad hoc schemes that come along as we're finding over the last 8 months in order to support local businesses. It's just really making sure that organisations and individuals are signposted to the most effective support that they can actually tap into.
Richard, I mentioned in the introduction that we're very much staring down the barrel with the effects of the pandemic restrictions, of course, Brexit just around the corner. It's worth stating that there is actually a lot of support available.
Absolutely, more than we've ever been able to deliver directly ourselves, and I think that's incredibly valuable. It's very much needed, and the purpose of this event and and future events is to really make sure that businesses are as fully aware and cited on the range of support available to them, and to take advantage of it, because as Helen said, and this slide displays, there are 10 or so core activities where OxLEP and the Growth Hub can help and support businesses at this critical time. I would urge businesses to get in touch and to access the support that's available to them, because we do recognise the enormous challenges, both currently of COVID, but as you said, Howard, EU transition is very much coming quickly down the highway, and we need to make sure that businesses are fully prepared for whatever outcome that transpires.
For sure. I mean, we're going to go into more detail, Helen, obviously, as we head through the broadcast, but perhaps now's a good time for just a little more detail on the wider help that's available through OxLEP Business.
Yeah, I guess the starting point, which, as you say, we'll cover in a bit more detail in a minute, and this has been a bit of a game changer for us. We had some enhanced funding in June time, which has allowed us to create an enhanced service, which is our business support tool, or you could call it a triage tool. And from that point, we signpost everybody out. Everybody gets a personal support plan, which Leslie's going to talk about in a little bit more detail in a minute. Mm-hmm. But that really just signposts people to the plethora of workshops and webinars we have. We've just recently launched a new grant scheme, launched and closed the Kickstart grant scheme, not to be confused by the Kickstart placement scheme, which you'll see on this slide. But it's very much around, that was a grant scheme which we opened last month, which we're just currently going through. We've got the peer networks program, which we're going to go into in more detail, and really just trying to look at how we can enhance that offer. You'll notice on this slide that we've got pre-start club, which is starting in the next few weeks. So, and then we also you'll have at the bottom, we've got a number of key programs which take us through to 2022, and they're funded through European sources, and that's very much about innovation, about helping people grow, about helping socially minded organisations.
And that European funding, obviously, with the EU transition coming, the funding doesn't just fall off a cliff; it will run its course.
Absolutely, those programmes will continue. The Treasury has underwritten any contracts that already existed, which was a relief when we heard that, because these programmes are key in Oxfordshire in terms of helping businesses move forward, and very much embedded in the landscape that we have, having previously had another programme which ended at the back end of last year.
Interesting. Richard, building and maintaining a collaborative business community is pretty key to making this happen. It is about doing this together, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think anyone can survive this alone, right down from the sole trader through to the biggest multinational. We are in this together. We've got to develop that sense of collaboration, of mutual help and support, and really look out for each other. And certainly through the Growth Hub and through the wider LEP activity, we bring together key stakeholders, whether it be universities, local authorities, businesses of all sizes, I must stress, and also across all sectors. So, for example, we've done some targeted work, as Helen's just mentioned, around the grant scheme, the Kickstart grant scheme, very much aimed at the visitor economy, a sector that we know is really struggling, and we're very keen to continue to work in partnership to help and support at one level. And equally, we've got some fantastic world-class science assets in and around the county. We're very keen to continue to drive support into those sectors. because they're the sectors that will be able to drive growth, productivity and GVA creation and wealth as we emerge from the pandemic. And I think it is absolutely incumbent on everybody to help and support each other, to collaborate as best we can. And we're here to perhaps provide that connective tissue between various stakeholders, various communities of interest, and as Helen's mentioned already, to signpost. We don't know all the answers, but we actually, if we don't know them, we know people who probably will know the answers. So it's very much a service based on collaboration, partnership, and mutuality to drive growth and benefit for Oxfordshire.
And that's very much the point of this broadcast, is to try and let people know what help is out there. But again, I guess it's a natural thing, Helen, that the businesses could sort of look inwards as opposed to looking outwards when we're under such stressful times. So this message is an important one.
Yeah, absolutely. And quite rightly, people are struggling at the moment. But what we're trying to say to people is actually conversation is probably one of the key things. When we went into lockdown we went down a week before national lockdown. We managed to turn the business around. We shut on the Tuesday. We were back up and running in everybody's homes on the Wednesday. And we've continued to make sure we can offer the support because actually people needed to talk. And that's what we're finding. So we opened some of our programs that maybe were a bit more contained to make sure everybody could have those conversations. We've got, Richard talked about partnerships. We've got OSEP delivering a lot of our work on Escalate. And we were very keen to make sure that those webinars that they picked up really quickly, anybody could join them, and actually having conversations, actually helping people to look outside of what they're trying to grapple with. Sometimes it's just having another person to talk to, and that's what we found throughout this process. And that's why some of the activities we're doing are about creating those spaces for people to talk and look out rather than just always looking in, which I know there's a danger that, but that's what people do.
Some excellent points to both of you. Absolutely spot on. If I can just say thank you for now to Richard. I know you're going to rejoin our conversation later. Mm-hmm. Helen, you're going to stay with us for the next part of the session. And joining Helen is Leslie Parsons, who's Growth Hub Programme Executive. We're going to focus on how we direct you to the right support. We've touched on some of the support available already, but how do you find it? That's a key part of what we're attempting to do today. Remember, if there is a question you want to ask, then please use the chat facility and a member of the OxLEP Business team will respond immediately. If you're watching this as a recording, you can get in touch through the website oxlepbusiness.co.uk. And during this section of the presentation, we're going to look at some of the specific help that is on offer from OxLEP Business and how it's tailored to your company's specific needs. The coronavirus pandemic and all its restrictions is the very real and present problem for all businesses locally. The level of disruption to the economy has been unprecedented, and sadly, it's looking likely to be the case certainly for months, if not years to come. Leslie, welcome to the conversation. OxLEP Business's support has grown exponentially in the last year. What are you now able to offer local companies?
Thanks, Howard, and morning, everybody. I think Helen's touched the previous slide, shows what a fantastic offer OxLEP has got to offer people. Obviously, Helen's mentioned the business support tool, and we'll come into a bit more detail on that in one moment. But businesses now can have one-to-one support with our business advisors, which actually goes into the real crux, aims, aspirations of those businesses. They can have this conversation, a 2-hour initial conversation, and then it can go on to possibly a 4-6-hour conversation, which really goes into the issues that these businesses have. We've also got targeted webinars. We have a suite of webinars. We've already completed 12 webinars, ranging from startup to SME with no money, discussing how you do that. We've had training on LinkedIn, how to find new clients on LinkedIn, how to find new clients on Facebook, thinking differently, because a lot of the businesses now have got to think about how they do their online presence. So we're doing lots of different tailored webinars. The slides that you can see on the screen at the moment, that's intelligence that we have gained from businesses that have been through the business support tool. So we can pick up the aims and aspirations of these businesses and actually tailor some webinars so that we can do one-to-many and businesses can engage together and try and come up with solutions for their challenges. So we've got lots of support to do. We are absolutely making it bespoke to the business, and hence why we're doing personal support plans and business support tools.
One of the issues I'm thinking as a business owner here is that, yeah, I need some help, but I've no idea where to find the specific help. I mean, how do you find what is most relevant to you? It's a bit of a sea of the unknown for many people at the moment.
Yeah, brilliant. Good question, Howard. Again, the slides that Helen previously showed in her first section shows the full support that OxLEP Business can actually give to businesses. We developed a business support tool back in June that actually it's you go through the OxLEP webpage, you fill in a survey, it's 20 questions which takes less than 10 minutes, and it actually captures information on your business. So it's your specific challenges, your aims, your aspirations. We collect all of that information, and every business that comes through the business support tool is actually, we produce a personal support plan, which is unique for their business. So it gives you, if you might be referred to one of the programs within the OxLEP business team. You are all offered one-to-one support from a business advisor. You have all of the webinars that are going to be hosted. You have a full schedule in there. You can have a referral to our skills team. So it's absolutely bespoke to your business. And we do that based on the information that you provide for us. So that gives you the whole support package in one place if you go through the business support tool on the OxLEP webpage.
Richard Bayard made the point that we've never had so much help available for small businesses at the moment. Helen, I believe there's actually further different support coming soon. Tell us more.
Yeah, thanks, Howard. So as Leslie said, what we're trying to do is develop our offer based on need, and that's using the triage tool allows us to do that. So some of the stuff that's coming down the line in the next few months is a new grant scheme, which we're likely to be launching in December and going to market probably around about January. That's quite a significant scheme, so potentially up to just over 2 million. Some quite high grant opportunities in there, but there's more to follow on that because it really is early doors. We had our first kick-off meeting yesterday, so we will be looking to launch that. We're also looking to launch some peer network, additional peer network, learning action group support, but more for those maybe some of the newer businesses that are maybe just trying to get themselves started. And very early doors for their business, which is something that our current peer networks program doesn't offer, which we'll talk about in a bit more detail. And I guess hot off the press this morning is that we have gone into partnership with a number of our local other growth hubs, and we are launching a series of EU transition webinars. So dare we mention EU transition, which we need to. So they have actually been launched. There's a series of about 12 workshops, as I say, which we're co-hosting, which are already up on the website. We will develop more as we go along. We need to make sure we develop what people need, and as Richard said earlier, make the most of the opportunity, make the most of the support, because currently some of this funding and some of the opportunities only go through to March of next year. We are hoping for more, but we continue to develop. Leslie,
tell us about the type of business individuals you support. I'm just thinking, if I was a business owner watching this, surely this is not for me. Convince me that it is.
Okay, so we support lots of different types of businesses. Obviously, we support all SMEs. We support people who are pre-start, so thinking about a business. So, during lockdown, quite a few people have possibly been made redundant and they're thinking about starting up their business. We are starting to give support to those people thinking about starting up a business. So we're giving support for that type of person. Startups who have started probably before COVID happened and they're thinking, oh my goodness me, what do? We give support to startup businesses. And established and growing businesses. The support that we give across the team is not just for struggling businesses. There is an awful lot of support that we give to established businesses. It might be that you possibly need to think differently because of COVID. You know, we've had an awful lot of restaurants and the retail businesses coming in thinking, okay, what do we do? We can't open our restaurant or our business. What do we do? How do we think differently? So we've had lots of different businesses. So it's right from pre-starts all the way through. And we've got support for everybody. And the really good point about the business support tool is that it actually signposts the specific needs for your business, rather than giving you the full list of everything that's available across OxLEP. We actually pinpoint what is best for you.
And once you've pinpointed that, I'd imagine there would be a number of different types of help that's available. Can businesses hop between different schemes and different help programs?
Yeah, absolutely. We have some businesses that have support on the Escalate program and the ISFB program that we're going to be talking about in a little while. We have businesses that are referred to our skills team, and we have businesses that have all three. So, and we also have businesses, and as mentioned already, every business that comes through our business support tool, we give them a one-to-one advisor session where they can specifically go into detail about their challenges and their aims and aspirations, and then they are signposted to other programs, and it could be one or it could be many. So yeah, they can take up a lot of offer across OxLEP, not just one.
Interesting. Helen, just before you leave us, I think the point for people to take away from this section of the conversation is literally just the sheer range of help that is on offer.
Yeah, absolutely. As I mentioned earlier, it has been a real game changer for us this year to be able to provide the level of support we've got. People need to engage with what there is available. And just to give you a sense of how many people have been coming to us, since July, we've produced over 800 of the personal support plans. That just goes to show the level of need just in Oxfordshire. And we've had over 700 people come through our triage tool, and that will continue to help develop the offer we have. And just one other thing, some people may remember we launched a business resilience grant scheme very early doors as we went into the pandemic. We had the capacity to award £800,000 worth of grants. This just shows the magnitude of support that was needed. We had £9.2 million worth of applications. That just shows what people are needing, and people are really looking for what's available. So yeah, huge amount of to offer, and more to come, I guess, is the key thing to say.
And no charge to businesses here. I mean, they come to you, they ask for help. This is free, and this is accessing either European or government money. I think it's worth making that point.
Yeah, absolutely. It's free for everybody engaging with the service, and that will continue to be that way.
Great stuff. Helen, thank you for now for your excellent contributions. I know we're going to see you later on in the presentation. Leslie's going to stay with us during this section, and let's welcome to the discussion Sarah Beale, Escalate Programme Executive, and Sophie Lee, who is Programme Executive at Innovation Support for Business. We're going to move the conversation on to supporting innovation, growth, and peer networks. We've touched on those sort of headlines, but we'll get some detail right now. In this section, we want to explore in more depth the programmes available to Oxfordshire businesses with specific and, as we've been hearing, in some cases bespoke business programmes that will ensure our corporate community can be proactive and resilient in these testing times. The commercial landscape is ever evolving. Right now, I guess it feels more like revolution than evolution, but with OxLEP Business's tailored help, hopefully local companies will not just survive, but truly thrive in the current climate. Sophie, welcome to the conversation. Tell us broadly about innovation support for business and the range of help available.
Thanks, Howard, and morning, everybody. So the Innovation Support for Business programme is a 4-year project part funded by the European Regional Development Fund, and it's live until September 2022. It supports Oxfordshire's innovative entrepreneurs and SMEs. So through the programme, we're dedicated to helping you find support needed to set up, start up and grow your business. We have strong links with partner organisations across the county, and provide you with appropriate advice and guidance for your business. So we have a range of support through the programme. We also have one-to-one support. So we have a specialist business advisor who can provide you with up to 12 hours of free support and guidance for innovative businesses. We have Go Create grants. Our grant rounds are now always open. The ISFB programme offers revenue grant funding from £1,000 to £50,000, with a minimum 3-to-1 co-investment required by the applicant business. We have a range of support on the website. So we have a grant webinar presentation, slides, grant guidance and Q&A documents to help SMEs with their application process. We also deliver workshops with our partners. Due to the current situation, all our workshops have been moved to online webinars. So keep an eye on the OxLEP Business events page for that. And we're also going to be starting some innovation webinars fortnightly, which will provide a mix of sessions and presenters which will provide innovation tools and tips and introductions. And then finally, we also have access to equipment and expertise and resources. So we have a range of specialist equipment and resources through the Agile Lab and the Eco Centre, which is available for all ISFB clients to utilise. So I think hopefully that gives you a broad overview of what we have to offer.
That is a pretty impressive range, and we'll explore that in a bit more detail in a moment. But Sarah, if we can find out from you, what is Escalate?
Yeah, thank you, Howard. Morning, everybody. So Escalate is our other ERDF funded programme, so funded by European money, and in a similar vein to ISFB, it will run until March 2022. When the programme is due to close. It's specifically aimed at SMEs who are either scale-ups or those with scale-up potential, and enterprises for social good in the county. By scale-ups, we mean those businesses that can demonstrate growth of 20% per year by employees, by turnover, or by both, and also those who've got the potential to achieve that. And what we mean by enterprises for social good is businesses that are either social enterprises or charities who are enterprising, as well as businesses which aim to be purposeful, so they're striving for positive or social or environmental impact. Those were the specific target groups that we set up the programme to support, but we've recently applied for and been granted some additional flexibility in the programme under COVID, which means we can actually support startup and growth SMEs in the county which don't fit into either of those two descriptions which I just talked about. So we've been able to widen the programme much more.
Interesting. And Leslie, you're the programme lead on peer network supports. Give us an overview on how this works.
Okay, thanks, Howard. Peer Networks is a brand new scheme. It's actually started probably about 2-3 weeks ago, and we had our first meeting this week. The Peer Networks is basically, it's a group of companies, businesses coming together between 8 and 11 businesses, and we're calling them cohorts. We are developing 15 cohorts from now till the end of March, where these businesses get together, talk about their challenges, overcome, the business challenges, and recognise and act on new opportunities. Businesses who are eligible, and I think Helen touched on the fact that the eligibility is quite strict. Businesses have got to have at least 5 employees, and they have to have a turnover of more than 100,000 to actually be able to come on the scheme. They join a programme. The cohort groups are set. They start in their cohort and move through a 9 weeks programme of a 2-hour meeting, and they stay in their cohorts. We're developing the cohorts, so it's a mixture of businesses. It's not just the creative industry. It's basically a mixture so that people can learn from each other. Once they've had their group meetings, they are also given one-to-one support for another 3.5 hours. So this is a fantastic opportunity for businesses to network, build up their own, I suppose, group of friends with different businesses. One of the groups that we had this week, a couple of people exchanged phone numbers there and then and said, right, we'll give you a ring after the group has ended, because I think we can help each other. So that was absolutely brilliant. And this is what we want to do. We want to bring businesses together so that they can overcome their challenges and opportunities. And hopefully, once the peer networks is finished, they will continue being friends and continue with their cohorts and groups. So yeah, fantastic opportunity.
Yeah, and the fact that it's such a new venture as well. I'm intrigued. I can understand the logic of putting everyone from the same, say, hospitality sector or entertainment sector together, but mixing and matching, how does that? It's sort of like speed dating for business. This sounds like
it is a little bit like speed dating for business, but we just think it's benefits. If you put everybody in the same group, they're not sharing different experiences. So I think, you know, as I've said yesterday, we had a couple of people said, right, we need to exchange numbers, because one of them was in the hospitality industry who did events and one of them made cakes. So it was almost like, right, okay, we get together and we can work together and we can overcome a challenge. So I think that there's a lot of benefit from different businesses getting together. I think they can all help each other a lot better than just one group of businesses. So yes, it is a bit like speed dating.
And Sarah, you've touched on this point that you've already had to change, if you like, the model to handle the COVID situation, and adding that sort of variation to it. Has that improved the offer, do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we've talked, well, others have talked about how much support is available, and we recognise that when we set up the Escalate programme a few years ago, when we put the application in for what the project would deliver, the whole world has changed since then. You know, businesses are experiencing a whole different set of challenges, and we're in a position which none of us, I think, ever imagined we'd be in. So being able to offer a much wider variety of support to really any business in Oxfordshire is definitely beneficial.
And Sophie, you told us earlier the range that's on offer, which was a pretty impressive list. What's the uptake been like, especially in these difficult times?
Yeah, we've had a large uptake from our one-to-one support. Our innovation advisor has new appointments with clients weekly that wanting to access our services and interested in the Go Create grant offers and how we can help them perhaps collaborate with other institutions and things like that. So yeah, we've had a lot of interest throughout COVID, and obviously before that. That's continued, and I would say probably, yeah, increased in terms of demand for Go Create grants and other support we can deliver.
It's always nice to hear stories of examples of how this has worked in your respective areas. Sarah, perhaps you can give us no names, no pack drills, but give us an idea of how it's helped certain companies with some specifics.
Yeah, so I think you know, grant funding, which we offer through all the programmes through ISFB and Escalate, is a really obvious one where you can see a big difference, and it's linked to a business, you know, where they've just needed to unlock that little bit of additional finance, or sometimes a bit more than a little bit, to help them bring in you know, expertise to help them take the business to the next stage. As well as that, there are quite a few businesses now that we've worked with for quite a long time. So on our previous programme, which was ended, we worked with pre-starts. We've worked now with some businesses where it was before they'd even started the business, they came to us for help, you know, come to one of our boot camps as to how to actually set up a business. And now we're working with them on Escalate as they're a growth business. You know, they're taking on new premises, employing new staff, and being able to continue to support those businesses. It's a really great thing to be part of, you know, even if we only put a little bit of support in there, to feel like we've made a difference to those businesses is really nice.
And Sophie?
Yeah, we've had a range of businesses that have really seen a difference from support recently. An example would be Educate, one of our businesses that's received a Go Create grant. They're an online learning company. They provide curriculum-based homework and review for programmes for GCSE and Key Stage 3 subjects. So the development of their 2 new products for English and Maths was accelerated by the Go Create grant, which really paid off when COVID-19 struck, as obviously more schools were using it during lockdown, and hundreds more have signed up. So through the support they received from the programme, they secured a significant opportunity to compete when it mattered, most as obviously the events of lockdown and coronavirus unfolded. So yeah, the full case studies on our OxLEP Business website, and there's a full range of other case studies there where you can see how the support that we've delivered has helped people. So that's just one example of how that's helped.
Leslie, obviously early days with the venture you're on at the moment, but I'm sure you're seeing sort of relationships starting to blossom.
We have, and we've had a really good example. We had a carpentry business. Obviously, COVID-19 happened. They had set designs, so clearly they had their market. COVID-19 happened, lockdown, and their orders fell off the cliff. Their market disappeared. They had a one-to-one meeting with our advisor, and basically the advisor helped them to think differently and to challenge them on how they could move their business forward differently. And they have pivoted. So now they're helping people do carpentry for their home office because everybody's working at home, or they're making garden room designs to convert into home working. They are converting desks at home, so your dining room table, some people need to extend it, so they're doing different things with their carpentry skills to make people able to work at home and have home life too. They updated their website and they did a new products brochure, and their business is booming now because they've diversified, and it's because they had that conversation with our advisor to challenge them to think differently. So that's a brilliant example of how we've helped.
We've come up with a new slogan as well there, actually. And Sophie, from what you've been saying, that the one-to-ones that you offer, that encouragement to think differently is actually crucial to the plot here.
Yeah, absolutely. Our one-to-one support advisor, they can help, overcome current challenges they're facing, or link them with the local innovation community. Might assist them, as I said before, with partnering for research and development, or collaborate more effectively, and advise on what practical arrangements they can put in place to help them move forward. And then, as well as obviously, as Leslie's touched on, how can they pivot their business? They might need to convert their delivery of a service or a product to an online platform, whereas previously they were delivering it in person. So it's there's a wide range of support we can offer to help businesses in this challenging time.
Yeah, and Sarah, just finally with you again, that on that sort of think differently sort of tag, really, just trying to get from the people you're dealing with here, again, to get them to maybe change their practices. It's slightly, business people are amazingly resilient and do think differently, but sometimes just a little bit of encouragement and a bit of support is all that's needed.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's providing that space for it. We've talked about people are so busy, and sometimes you're just very focused inwards, very busy on your business, but actually having the chance to take a step back, look at what you're doing, talk to somebody external about it, and review your practices and how you approach things could be really beneficial. With Escalate, we've got the same program structure as ISFB, so you've got the one-to-one support, the chance to sit down with a business advisor and work through whatever bit of your business you want to focus on, as well as having the opportunity to join webinars and social events online with other businesses. And also something that's really working well, which we're seeing, is on the social enterprise part of the program, having peer networks. So actually bringing lots of different organisations together, giving them that space to learn from each other, share ideas, and build those networks and friendships, like Leslie has said, which can offer a form of support which is ongoing beyond the end of these programs. Hopefully that we've really created that community for businesses.
A brilliant insight. Thank you to the three of you, Leslie, Sarah and Sophie, for your contributions. You're watching a special presentation from OxLEP Business, asking what's next for Oxfordshire's business community. In the next section of the events, we'll speak to a number of local businesses who have directly benefited from OxLEP Business's tailored help programs. So please keep your questions coming into us on the chat facility on the platform. If you're watching us live, if you are watching on catch up, then oxlepbusiness.co.uk is where you need to head. We're going to take a very short break and be back with you very soon. Thanks for rejoining the conversation. I'm Howard Bentham, and this is a special presentation from OxLEP Business. Our mission is to help businesses to survive and thrive, and we're dedicated to helping you find the support needed to set up, start up, and grow your business. We've heard from a number of contributors who actually offer the help in its many forms, but what about the companies and organisations on the receiving end? What do they make of the advice and assistance given? Thinking into the conversation now to answer the question why you should engage with OxLEP are Regina Lally from Data Basics, who are based at the Harwell Innovation Centre, and Catherine Weatherburn, the founder of Safety Not, who advocates safety for families in low and medium income countries. Welcome to you both. Let's find out how OxLEP Business has helped your organisations. If we can start with you, Regina. Probably first though, worth just getting a bit of background about your company and what led you to seek assistance from OxLEP Business.
Sure. Morning, Howard, and thanks for inviting us to talk about this. So we are a small business, as you said, based at Harwell. There's 4 of us. We took on our first employee the day before lockdown, so we had one day in the office with her. And we offer data protection from a very practical perspective. So what we do is we help organisations look at what data they have, where it is, and how we can help them protect it in accordance with things like GDPR and other relevant legislation, right through from audits, policies, mapping that data and training their staff on how to actually remember those things on a daily basis. So for us then moving into lockdown, it was quite different because we're used to being in an office together. We had to induct a new member of staff. And one of the key things that we found and recognised sort of through that period was that we relied a lot on, for our new business pipeline, on that sort of face-to-face networking. We were both of us, me and my business partner Kelly, very active across the Oxfordshire networking scene, and that would often lead to conversations that would then help us to pique people's interest in data protection, because I don't think there's many people often sitting there thinking, what should I do today? I know I'll think about data protection. I wish they would, but often they're not. So when it came, we saw the COVID Kickstart grants, we really thought, how could that help us change how we actually think about bringing new business into the organisation? And we were looking at how could we improve our online presence and help people to find us when they are thinking about data protection, that we're the ones that they find online. And we knew we needed to change what we were doing because we didn't have the expertise for that to do it ourselves.
That's interesting. Catherine, it's a very different organisation that you run to Data Basics, so worth giving us a bit of background.
Thanks so much, Howard, and morning everyone. Safety Not is a purpose-driven business, and we're dedicated to promoting safety and preventing injury in developing countries. And we do this by working with families, but also organisations such as international charities and international development government departments to promote safety within the home, within the workplace, and also within charity projects such as construction projects. And as I say, we're a purpose-driven business. We really care about what we do. So for every sort of purchase made or any training that we provide, we then provide free safety training to a family in need, to a family in Nepal through our sister charity, Safety Not Nepal, which I founded in 2017. So like Regina, we're also very small. Our sort of team mushrooms in size depending on what project we're working on, so we could go up to sort of 15 team members, or we could just sort of go down to 4 or 2 or 1. So COVID unfortunately has also impacted us, particularly because we work in Asia, so it's been fantastic to have OxLEP as a sort of support service that's been available to us.
Well, we'll drill down into a bit of detail then and find out how support through OxLEP has actually physically helped and practically helped your company. Regina, take us through what they've done for you.
Sure. So when we saw that the Kickstart grants were available, we really just, as I said, stopped to think about how could we best use that kind of support in a way that would make a difference to the business, so it wasn't just something that we were doing for the sake of it. And when we really stopped and thought, actually, we need to be seen online, we need to have that presence. And our website wasn't ranking particularly high. It was doing okay, but we weren't coming up in searches. And we work with another local company to provide our website, Beyond Your Brand, and they do a great job for us. And they also have SEO expertise. And so as we recognised that our sales approach needed to change, we wanted the website's purpose, rather than being a shop window and a kind of reassurance about what we did, we wanted it to kind of generate leads for us to be able to follow up on. So that bid that we put together, and we were lucky because it's a very popular bid, and we were one of the lucky businesses to actually receive that funding. It allowed us at a time where cash flow was tight, and like to, you know, you're making that decision of, we know it's something you need to do, but at the same time, you know, everything, you know, it's difficult to get business in. It's people are not making decisions. How do we invest at this point where money's so tight? And looking at a 5-month plan, we were able to then say, well, actually, if OxLEP can provide us with that help, we should be able to see the difference. And actually, we have seen that difference. We are getting inquiries coming in from the SEO work that Beyond Your Brand have done with us, and that's been funded by the OxLEP team through that grant. And I think if that hadn't been available to us, we certainly wouldn't have been able to have the amount of support that we got from Beyond Your Brand. It would have been at a much lower level, if at all. And, you know, one of the things that I was really happy, literally 2 weeks ago, we had a company who phoned us, and I did, oh, you know, how did you find us? And she's like, oh, I did a search for data protection in Oxfordshire, and you clearly stood out as the company to talk to, which for me then made the difference, because we've made that right decision. And OxLEP had actually helped us to get there through recognising that potential, that it would help us actually build and grow the business as we wanted to.
It's obviously a great level of expertise, and it's the range of expertise, Catherine, because as I touched on, literally you couldn't be more different than the organisations that our two examples are today. How did their expertise and knowledge really help you?
Well, I think I've been involved with OxLEP probably for about a year now, I think, or probably longer, sorry. So pre-COVID, I was actually coming back from some consultancy work I was conducting in Nepal, and I'd started Safety Not Limited, the Oxford-based company. And I was thinking, wow, there's a lot to learn about businesses as a solo founder. You've got to suddenly be knowledgeable not only about your particular expertise, but also about accountancy, you know, finance, communications, marketing, all these different things. And I thought it would be fantastic to get some support. So I was on a train, I had my laptop open, and I simply just Googled Oxfordshire business support, and OxLEP came up. And since then, I've been involved, I think, in most of the arms, actually. So I'm a massive OxLEP advocate. So I've been involved in OSEP, in Escalate, in I think most of them. And the thing that I really value is that you're able to speak with experts who really care about what you're doing, but also are very understanding. So we received a small ISFB Go Create grant, which pre-COVID or during COVID, I think, just as it started. And we decided to put that off at the moment, because I don't think it's quite the right thing to do at the moment. It's a Safety Not mobile phone app. I think that'll be the next step. First, we need to get all our stuff online, and then we need to launch the app. And I was having a call with the team, and I thought, I was quite apprehensive about it, because I was thinking, oh, they're sort of almost going to tell me, well, this is the wrong decision you're making. You need to spend the money. And they said, look, we want you to succeed. We're here to help you. And I think having that kind of support from people is just invaluable. And also, as you say, Howard, the range of supports available. So I've attended sort of marketing sessions. I've had a one-to-one finance session. So I've attended an incubator. There's different, lots of different support available for people in the different stages of their business journey. So I think it's been really helpful for me.
Very real world problems, obviously, at the moment, the challenges around COVID-19. Regina, how has that directly affected your business?
So for us, what we've had to really look at is how we deliver our services. We're, you know, my role and job title is people person, and I've, you know, we'll go out and we will deliver training on site. We will engage with our clients directly, and that's obviously had to shift. So we've moved a lot of our services online, and we took the time in lockdown to sort of really reflect on what we were offering and what the challenges for businesses were going to be coming out of lockdown. You know, the fact that there's more remote working, there's more risk of mistakes leading to data breaches. So we moved our training online. So very much similar to, you know, finding a platform similar to this, being able to translate those courses, open them up so it's not company specific, but so that people can book on. It's more manageable that way because it's a per delegate as opposed to a bigger chunk of change. And we also then we've developed a data protection toolbox that kind of has some core materials, allows companies themselves who have data protection leads to take on that responsibility and implement it properly in their business, rather than just having policies that are sort of sitting on the shelf gathering dust. So we used our lockdown time to kind of try and think how we could then make our business more online and less in person, and actually bring those services to people in a way that would hopefully be helpful to them. Particularly, we were mindful that Brexit is going to be, you know, coming hot on the heels, and that will affect data protection as well. You know, people need to understand if they receive data from Europe that they need to have certain things in place. And for us, we're, you know, at the moment we're very much seeing that that's a risk for businesses, and helping them in a remote fashion and really kind of get those messages out there through the content on our website and in an online way. But it's been a challenge for sure.
What about in your organisation, Catherine, the thought of COVID-19 and really picking up on what Leslie was saying earlier about think differently? Has it made you think differently?
Oh, 100%, because you know, our activities prior to COVID were 100% face-to-face in Asia. So we're talking about countries that have been so tremendously impacted by COVID, and still are. You know, many of the countries that we were hoping to expand to in 2020 are still in lockdown. So and now they're facing other issues such as food insecurity and shortages. So in terms of being able to conduct activities, that's not been possible. So just to give you some insight, so 2020 was the year of expansion for Safety Not. We were going to expand from Nepal to the Philippines, Vietnam, Thailand and Cambodia, and that's not been possible. And you know, we had trips planned for April to start to meet with new partners to see what services could we provide, how can we support people with their safety needs. So during this time of lockdown, much like Regina, lots of reflection about how can we provide different offerings. And actually, I think the only way that we can do this is frame this time that COVID has given us positively, I suppose, and think, okay, well, what can we do to provide safety support to more people? And one way is to get our stuff online. So in that transition period of trying to sort of put about 5 years of work onto online courses, resources, etc., so that people can access them in those countries that have lockdown still, but also now reaching out to people who live in those countries so that they can start to make Safety Not teams and provide that support working with me remotely from Oxford. So as I say, at the time, 100% sort of face-to-face business model didn't seem like a bad idea because it was working fine. But now actually, you know, that should be one of our activities, but there's no reason why we can't be online. So I think much like Regina, we've sort of making that shift towards providing remote support as well.
Will Brexit, Catherine, be an issue? I mean, obviously you're talking Far East, but will there be issues that Brexit throws up for your organisation?
I hope not. I think in terms of, you know, as Regina was saying about things like data protection, and I'm sure many other aspects to do with logistics and that kind of thing. But I think I'm hoping it's not going to be another double whammy on top of COVID. But let's watch this space.
All right. But picking up on what you said, Regina, it could actually make you pretty busy, Brexit, with the changes in data protection potentially.
Yes, yeah, potentially. I think it's one of those things people might not necessarily have clicked onto yet, and I think that reality of where data is in the world doesn't necessarily spring to the forefront of the mind because you've got your laptop in front of you. So yes, we hoping that we get quite busy in the next couple of months, and things like redundancies as well, that increases people's subject access requests coming in, and that's always a bit of a panic. So things have definitely been on the up since lockdown ended. But sadly, it's often for reasons that are sad for the individuals that are going through those kind of processes. But absolutely, I mean, I think my key message to any business listening now is don't get caught out, figure out what you need to do now. Because with December and Christmas, that's a whole month pretty much gone. Even though there's going to be less Christmas parties, I think it's good to get planning.
Yeah, I think you're probably right there. I'll just let you both sum up really, and this is a message for other businesses and organisations that is watching and listening to our conversation. What difference OxLEP has actually made to your ability to be competitive and thrive? Catherine, I'll let you sum up first.
Well, just a recent example is through the OSEP programme. I was kindly offered a ticket for an online conference. So I had the opportunity to meet lots of other social enterprises around the world. It was the World Forum. So that was a really interesting event. But through that, someone's contacted me via LinkedIn, an organisation called We Make Change. And they have a database of thousands and thousands of volunteers around the world. And they asked if I'd like to participate and have Safety Not sort of advertised on their platform, which we've done. And I think, it's only just launched, and I think I've already received about 15 or so volunteer applications. And there's a few that look particularly like they would work really well with us. So that's just an example of how, a connection made through an event online, which was through OxLEP's contacts, has helped Safety Not. And as I say, we've been given a grant as well, which I hope we'll be able to use shortly when we're moving on to that sort of next phase.
Well, good luck with that. And Regina?
Thank you.
I think for us, the timeliness of the grant when it was made available was ideal, and the fact that we were then able to allocate that money, match a little bit ourselves, and make that decision to invest in something that we knew would make a difference for the business, but might have been a bit more of a struggle had we not had that support from OxLEP. And outside of the grant, we've worked with them before to deliver on services to their clients as well. So, and we're looking to strengthen our relationship with them, because we recognise that Oxfordshire is a good place to do business, and we want relationships locally as well as wider afield. And so we welcome the support that they gave us, and are really grateful for it, because it's helped us gain visibility across Oxfordshire and wider, and hopefully helped us to continue to thrive on beyond 2020 and the year that this has been.
Many thanks to Regina and to Catherine. The best of luck to you both with your organisations. For the final parts of the event, I'd like to welcome back Helen Brind and Richard Bayard, who opened the discussions earlier today. Helen is the Growth Hub Manager at OxLEP Business, and Richard is Director of Business Development at OxLEP. Helen, firstly, give us your reaction to what you've been hearing over the last hour or so of discussion.
I guess reflections are that we have got a wealth of opportunities and support available to Oxfordshire businesses. It's great to have two of the clients talking today to the audience, because I think that just really shows, and hopefully that shows to others, it brings it to life, and actually brings it to life for us as well. We've had some, we haven't seen our clients. We would normally see our clients physically. So it's really great to be able to show what some of the businesses are up to that we're working with. We normally have some people that are on the call now. We normally do an annual marketplace event where we actually get together to see the impact and to meet clients. So I guess it's just, there's some great support there. We've got some great businesses, really diverse businesses that we're working with, which hopefully that's come out as we've gone through the session.
Richard, your thoughts?
I think the examples that are being given by Catherine and Regina are fantastic, and as Helen said, bring to life some of the great businesses we have in Oxfordshire. And I think they've probably followed, I guess, four main principles. They've thought, think about the current situation, think about how COVID is affecting their businesses. And that's fine, and obviously Leslie majored on the ability to think and think differently, but you've also got to act, and they've acted on those thoughts, and they've enabled and enacted a whole raft of different business approaches. So think, act. They've responded in a range of different ways. And I think what they've both shown, and businesses across Oxfordshire continue to show, is boldness, and the ability to innovate, the ability to think differently, the ability to act, the ability to respond, but actually be bold, because this is a situation new to all of us, and sometimes brave decisions have to be made, and we've seen obviously two examples of where businesses have been bold. But there are many other organisations out there that have pivoted their businesses successfully in response to COVID. And I think really one of my underpinning reflections is just really going back to the start. There's a whole breadth of support available through OxLEP, more so than we've ever had in our armoury. and just really encourage businesses to come along, have a conversation, see how we can help and support. I've really taken, just by the very simple example there around, well, attended a LinkedIn workshop and given access to the OXLEP social enterprise platform and that conference, then lo and behold, got a whole raft of new business opportunities that probably wouldn't have happened without OXLEP. And I think sometimes we should just focus on some of the very simple actions. And I think it's all about networking as well. And obviously we're now in a virtual networking world. And the more we can network, the more businesses can network, get their name out there, get their product out there, raise the awareness. Then hopefully the more successful they'll be.
And Helen, your message for businesses that have either joined us live today or will be watching this on catch up?
I guess what I'd like to say is that, and Richard will probably concur with me, the last 7 months have been really humbling for us, I think, seeing some of the challenges of businesses out, not just in Oxfordshire, but obviously we deal with Oxfordshire businesses. Richard and I have a lot to do with the grants that have come through, and just reading how some businesses are desperately trying to change their business, pivot their business, and really try and make sure that they can keep going and being innovative, because actually some of those businesses, because some of the people we talk to have maybe been in business for 25, 30 years, especially within the hospitality industry. We've got some businesses that have been talking to us that there's been a real challenge, but actually through the support, I hope through the support we've been able to offer, we've been able to support those businesses and will continue to do so. And I'm very proud of what my team have done since day one. We're going into lockdown. We haven't stopped the service. We've made sure we've continued to do as much as we can, and the offer is there. There's lots for people to engage with, and people just need to get in touch with us, really. As Richard said earlier, he talks about collaboration and partnership. The one thing that makes us successful is the relationships we have. There's people on this call that we work with that have actually helped us make sure we can deliver this service, to just really get in touch.
And Richard, I guess businesses connecting with each other can get the message out to a wider audience. You were hearing the story from Catherine where she Googled it, and then one thing has literally led to another.
Absolutely.
And here she's on the broadcast today. So word of mouth is such a powerful tool.
Word of mouth, having that network alongside you of people you can call upon, which is why we're so enthused by the peer-to-peer network opportunity, because that is a grouping of critical friends who will provide that peer network, peer assessment of issues and challenges, real life challenges that businesses are facing. And as Leslie said, that's already led to some intra-group networking and potential business collaboration. So it is, word of mouth is absolutely vital. I think increasingly, as a lot of businesses are pivoting to an online presence, I think search engine optimization will become increasingly more prevalent, because obviously there's a wider community of potential stakeholders and clients and businesses to draw from. So yeah, I think networking in its both physical and its virtual sense, which is underpinned by word of mouth, absolutely being the core principle, the core business development tool that everybody can use to deliver a good service on time at a competitive price. And word of mouth will be your natural marketing solution, or one of them certainly.
And Helen, will you be overseeing any further support? You've touched on some of the things that are hopefully going to happen soon. Just let it open Pandora's box a little wider.
Yeah, well, I guess so. Some of it I talked about earlier. Some of it's very new. We only really started kickstarting some of this stuff off yesterday. So yeah, we're going to have a significant grant scheme. We're going to be adding to the offer, including obviously we've got the peer networks program, but we're going to add to that. So it's going to be another, I think, busy 6 months to make sure that we can roll out that support. And I dare say, based on how things do operate for us, there will be some more funding coming through for us to help in terms of help support businesses through EU transition. And I think that's the key. I think people are very, very focused on keeping their business afloat, but that actually is somewhere that people really do need to be reflecting. Are they ready for whatever happens at the end of the year? It's kind of still a bit of an unknown, but just making the most of the opportunities. But that will be coming through the Growth Hub.
Helen and Richard, many thanks, and thank you for all the comments and questions that have been landing during the broadcast. OxLEP's communications manager, Rob Panting, has a few, I understand. Maybe Helen and Richard could field some of these before we draw things to a close. Rob, what have you learnt during the broadcast? What are we hearing?
So the main questions really have been based around the number of different grants that we offer as an organisation, and in particular whether or not there's a conflict going for a variety of different support within OxLEP Business, and also in fact the additional support that's potentially available from other organisations too, whether that causes any problems for businesses. So it's really some clarification on that people have been asking. Also, in addition, people are quite interested about our wider support and ability to help businesses across other teams too. So we have our OxLEP Skills team rather, and in particular the Skills for Business programme that exists there. So it's probably worth a couple of words on that too, just to clarify what that programme delivers.
Who'd like to pick that one up, Helen?
So I pick up around the conflict and the grants, etc. I guess the key for us is that, as we said at the head of the session, is around we're here to signpost as well as offer support, and that will be signposting to things like Innovate UK grants and what are the other grants that are available, not just within the LEP. Is there a conflict? No, not at all. They're very different schemes. Can people apply for Innovate UK and a grant with us? Yes, they can. In actual fact, if you look at us as an organisation, you can apply for a number of different grants depending on which programme you're engaging with. There are some parameters about maximum that you can go for, but that's probably a little bit complicated for me to get into on this call because it's to do with something called state aid, which you'll have heard about recently on some of the EU transition conversations. So we won't go into that, but no conflict. And we've got somebody who works with us through the Escalate programme that really can help people kind of move through what's available in terms of what we have and then what is available externally.
Richard, do you want to just add anything to that? Yeah, absolutely. So broadly speaking, in terms of state aid side of it, circa £180,000 worth of state aid that's been supported into the company over a 3-year period. That's kind of the benchmark for that. But as Helen said, there's an awful lot of flexibility around the various grants and various opportunities. And yeah, we're here to help businesses try and navigate their way through what can be and is a very complex area. Shall I pick up on the second element that Rob introduced around maybe around skills? Quite rightly, we've been very focused on the here and now and COVID-19 response, but we shouldn't forget that Oxfordshire is an incredibly successful economy. Has a strong track record of economic growth, and one of the underlying principles of that is a really strong, robust labour market. Now we are seeing changes in the labour market currently, and we've got a skills-based programme which sits in the Skills Hub, Skills for Business, which is there to help and support businesses both within the current situation, but also plan for growth, because we are undertaking various research looking at future opportunities for Oxfordshire and future trajectory, which is positive. We've got to get through the current situation, but then the outlook looks much better, which of course businesses need to be able to respond to as well. So we've got a Skills Business programme that can help businesses look at the here and now, look at some of the immediate challenges around skills needs. Also look at reskilling. So again, if we're thinking about some of the businesses that perhaps are pivoting their business operations, it could be new products. Well, okay, in order to deliver new products, what new skills do my workforce need in order to help deliver that new product or services, for example, and actually looking at a slightly longer time horizon, and being on the front foot for when recovery comes, and it will come. So there's a whole raft of support there through Skills for Business team. Also looking at apprenticeships as part of that, and again, I think one of the challenges of the immediate situation is that young people, as we know, have been adversely affected. So the more we can encourage apprenticeships, the more businesses that engage through the government's skills-based Kickstart program, which is separate to the one Helen described, which offers opportunities for young people. Then again, we've got the support available through the Skills for Business program to help broker those activities and to try and get young people engaged and really to try and reduce job losses as a consequence of the pandemic.
Rob, thanks for bringing those points for Richard and Helen to answer. Thanks for your contributions, and thanks indeed to all our contributors today, especially our featured local organisations that have really benefited from OxLEP Business's help. Regina Lally from Data Basics and Catherine Weatherburn from Safety Not. These are tough times to be running a business, possibly the toughest ever, but help is available. We've never had so much support on offer for Oxfordshire's small businesses, so do use it. Please get in touch. Our website is oxlepbusiness.co.uk. Thanks again for watching, and from me, Howard Bentham, stay safe and goodbye.
Thanks everyone.
Thank you.